Welcome to this explainer. Okay, picture this. You are sitting completely alone in a room, talking into a microphone, and you're actively plotting your path to the Academy Awards. Seriously, today we're going to unpack the fascinating, raw, and just incredibly ambitious inner monologue of an independent creator. What we're looking at here is essentially a deeply personal audio diary. It's a transcript of a solitary filmmaker literally recording his own stream of consciousness. And we're going to explore that intense, kind of crazy juxtaposition between the daily, isolated grind of an indie creator and the absolute grandiosity of their ultimate Oscar dreams. It's really a brilliant case study in ambition, human limitation, and what actually drives the creative spirit when absolutely no one else is watching. I haven't done much in life, but I want an Oscar in everything. I mean, wow. It is such a striking, almost jarring statement to hear, isn't it? Here's a person sitting in an empty room, just testing out audio equipment, and he's openly admitting he hasn't achieved much in the conventional sense. Yet his eyes are firmly fixed on the absolute pinnacle of cinematic achievement. This isn't just about trying to make a living, it's deeply rooted in the psychology of this insatiable hunger for ultimate validation. Because, when you feel like you haven't done much, sometimes the only way forward is to just aim for the absolute highest peak imaginable. So, let's kick things off with part one, from unemployment to filmmaking. We so often think of filmmakers as, I don't know, fancy art school grads with rich connections, right? But for this creator, the catalyst was actually something a lot of us actively fear: losing the standard 9 to 5 job. He candidly admits in his monologue that he was let go, he had no other work lined up, and he simply needed a way to earn his daily bread. He openly states, truth is truth, why lie? He started thinking about making films as a literal survival mechanism. He figured that if he could just make something, anything, he could afford his 2 meals a day. It is this stark, incredibly grounded reality check that sits right alongside those lofty Oscar dreams we just talked about. And because he had literally zero safety net, his creative process became wildly experimental. Get this, he just starts recording random audio, figuring things out entirely on the fly. Then he takes that raw material, retreats back to his room to edit, and literally finds the movie hidden in the footage. He fully admits he doesn't even know what he's making when he starts. He just hits record to see what new things might emerge, relying completely on the editing phase to actually shape a narrative. It's a totally retroactive, somewhat chaotic, but honestly fascinating way of approaching filmmaking. Moving right along to part two, the one-man army. Now, he hasn't just rejected the traditional film crew, he has entirely absorbed it. He emphatically states in his audio diary that since he has a shortage of actors, well, he is the actor. He creates the picture, he directs it, he edits it, he records the sound, the whole shebang, all by himself. He actually declares, I don't need anyone now. And what's wild is that this isn't just a logistical necessity for him anymore. It is morphed into a point of deep, deep pride. Just think about the sheer exhaustion of that for a second, but also the immense, incredible control of owning every single aspect of that production pipeline. 1. Just one. The one-man army. Traditional filmmaking relies on hundreds, sometimes thousands of collaborators to bring a vision to life. But his reality is entirely solitary. He is completely alone on this path. But rather than seeing this isolation as a deficit or a weakness, he views it as a unique strength. It's a way to create something entirely original and completely untainted by outside interference. There is honestly a certain awe in the audacity of venturing into the unknown like that and betting entirely on yourself. Which brings us to part three, exploring space and time. So it's a classic battle of David versus Goliath in the filmmaking world here. In the traditional industry, massive multi-camera setups capture huge coverage and endless angles. That's just the norm. But our creator? He's relying on a single camera, just one. But again, he doesn't see this as a weakness at all. In fact, he proudly defends the immense, deliberate effort required in his constrained approach. He argues that you have to be incredibly intentional with exactly where you place that camera, simply because you do not have the luxury of just cutting away to a different angle to magically save a bad scene. You have to get it right. And look, when you are an army of one, you obviously cannot film explosive car chases or massive, sprawling, dramatic sequences. So what does he do? He pivots. He turns a technical limitation into a distinct stylistic signature. He substitutes grand spectacle with the things he can actually control: intimate, character-driven moments. He leans heavily into deep emotion and witty banter, or nook-choke, as he playfully describes it, to carry his narratives forward. It is honestly a brilliant masterclass in creative problem-solving. And that leads us perfectly into part four, the ultimate Oscar dream. It really begs a fascinating question for us to think about. Can a completely solo creator working entirely outside the massive Hollywood system ever actually win an Academy Award? He wonders aloud if the establishment will ever recognize someone who works completely alone without the massive teamwork that usually defines Oscar-winning films. He knows it's highly unlikely, and he acknowledges that it requires extraordinary work. But he fiercely defends his inherent talent. Will the powers that be ever recognize a master of none who is essentially a master of one? I saw people holding that golden statue in my childhood and wondered what it was. You see, this obsession isn't about modern viral fame or getting clicks. It actually started way back in childhood, just staring at a television screen, wondering why all these famous adults were crying over a little golden statue. He recalls wondering, what is this thing that makes people so intensely happy? It must be incredibly valuable. That childhood mystery evolved into a lifelong drive. For him, the Oscar represents the ultimate symbol of having made it. It's about proving to the world, and honestly, perhaps finally to himself, that his isolated struggles have profound meaning. And because he wears every single hat, his dream scales right along with his workload. He doesn't just want one Oscar, no way. His grandiose plan is to sweep absolutely every category he touches: acting, directing, sound design, and editing. He notes that some people win double or triple Oscars, so he figures, why on earth not win in every single category he works in? It's an almost beautiful, staggering level of audacity. He says, I haven't done anything in life, but if I just get an Oscar, I can show people that I achieved the biggest thing. For him, it is the ultimate, undeniable vindication. So, as we wrap up this explainer, we are left to ponder this. Will sheer, unyielding willpower actually be enough to turn solitary isolation into Oscar gold? Or is the true victory simply having the sheer audacity to try in the first place? The anatomy of his ambition is undeniably compelling, and it reminds us of the deeply human struggles of creators who dare to dream of gold. It really makes you wonder, what impossible dream are you quietly editing in your room? Keep questioning what's possible.